Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are and whenever you are. Welcome to the community live stream. This is the show that takes a deeper look into the ServiceNow community, the questions you ask, the problems you have, and brings you the thought process behind that to give you more advantage at work, become a more effective ServiceNow developer and administrator. My name is Chuck Tomasi. This is November 9th, 2018. It's Friday. We're happy. I got the bow tie on. We're ready to go. So happy that you could join me here today. Sorry about no show yesterday. There was a bit of a family emergency. No problem. It's been dealt with, taken care of. I was seconds, quite literally seconds away from hitting that broadcast button. And stuff happens. I apologize. So the situation has been dealt with, and I'm ready to go today. So let's continue on with where we're going. If you're watching this on YouTube, be sure to subscribe to the channel so that you get notifications. Maybe I got one now. Not quite yet. I got one from Twitch, though. Odd that we haven't quite figured out what the YouTube algorithm is yet. The one on Wednesday I didn't get until I posted the show, until I was done with all the details. Very, very strange, but we'll figure it out. Give everybody a minute to get here. If you're not getting the alerts, you can always set your calendar. You set up a recurring calendar appointment for 1 p.m. UTC, whatever time that is in your area. Good morning, Diogo. Good morning, Carolyn. Good to see you both online. Give you a shout out in the chat room if you're on YouTube. If you've got more than just a hi, how are you? Where are you? Go ahead and put it in the community. I'll give you that address in just a second. If you're new, this may be your first time watching the video. I know some of you who come here every day go, what, again? We got to go through this again? You could probably recite it for me. That's fine, but we want to make sure that the new people know as well. Go ahead and like the video. Click like if you find something helpful, useful, informative, maybe even mildly entertaining on this video, and other people will know that there's good information in here. Hope everyone in India had a happy Diwali. I didn't mention that yesterday. I did on Wednesday, figuring that by the time they watch it, it probably will be. I also noticed that viewership was way down. So apparently a large number of our viewers are in India, and we're busy celebrating on Thursday because Wednesday's video didn't get a whole lot of views. So good for you. Don't sit around watching YouTube. Get out there and celebrate and do what you want to do on your day off. Hopefully most of you had a day off. Good to see you. Good morning, Jim. Good morning to you. We also do this on Twitch. If you're over there, you can follow that Twitch. I know that there's some people that watch that and appreciate that very much. So if you've got more than just a good morning shout out, be sure to post it on the community so that others can see it. Be sure to put it in the right area in the community so that the right people see it. If you post something to the developer community and it's about SecOps, you might get lucky. There might be somebody there that can help you out, but if you put it in the security section, you'll get a better chance of getting those experts. Carolyn says, actually, I find the reminders good. I'm often reminded to check my PDI to make sure it's still active. Yes, I do as well. I get that usually when I go on vacation or holiday or something. There it is. We've got the lovely YouTube notification. Just 2 minutes late. Not too bad. That's why I do this. Part of the reason is I give the introduction to the new viewers, but I also want to make sure that people get that alert, get signed on, get going. Thank you very much for joining us if you're joining us. Community live stream, Chuck Tomasi, answer questions in the community, and bring you lessons that I've learned recently, ideas, insights. Currently working on a project with a couple of other coworkers for an app that's due in a couple of weeks. So yes, very soon. And working on that. And there may be more lessons learned and insights had from that. Ready to go with the cup of morning tea? Yes, we are. Community.servicenow.com is where you want to go to get that information, get your information posted up there, and get your questions. Explore, learn, search before you post to make sure that what you're asking hasn't been asked several times before. Otherwise, you're going to get, hey, you should go read this article. That is a valid answer to have somebody go, sorry, my keyboard is getting a little wonky on here. I got to be able to type. I had a crazy dream about this mixer last night. USB ports all over the place, and that's not even a real thing. Go over to developer.servicenow.com. I encourage you, if you haven't done so already, create yourself an account. Get a free personal developer instance running London, Kingston, or Jakarta. As of this recording, those are our latest releases. And you can explore, you can play, you can learn, you can turn plugins on, you can do proof of concept. You can tear this thing apart, throw it away, and start over if you want. It's a wonderful experience. I use mine all the time just for, hey, I wonder what would happen if. Rather than impacting something in your organization's dev, test, or prod environment, you can go do this in a safe sandbox. We've also got all the scripting APIs documented over at developer.servicenow. I encourage you to go take a look at those. You can get free learning plans to become a more effective developer. I want to take a look at the learning plans. So go over to this, and under Learn, we have training, we have learning plans. You can do, if you're new to ServiceNow, you can put that in there. Developer.servicenow.com is the website. I'm going to put that away, so put the title down. If you're a new ServiceNow administrator, you want to be a ServiceNow application developer, you want to take part in the Technology Partner Program, you want to become a ServiceNow partner, there are a number of things that you should know to become a partner or an ISV or lots of stuff like that. Go into the Application Developer Program, and apparently I started something here. Or it was my resume. No, that's resume. Sorry, just bad joke. I try. Under Learning, we also have all the training and documentation as well. So that is a quick view at our developer.servicenow.com site. Also remind you that we've got the webinar coming up next Wednesday on Virtual Agent. Register at the link you see there, TN58Reg over at Bitly, and get signed up for that, where Stacey Bailey is going to take us through Virtual Agent. I have to write a couple of conversations today. That's part of my assignment on that group application that we're writing. So it really goes fast when you have 3 people working on a project. It's so much fun. This is it feels like a hackathon. We have a limited amount of time. We have an idea that hasn't been implemented before, and we're all working together. We're just in different parts of the country. So it's an interesting experiment. I don't do these too often, and it really is fun. I think the last one was about 18 months ago. I'm going to let TechNow go. You all know where to go for that. If you haven't already, what do I got? Something happened here. Oh, I was already on that screen. I keep hitting the same key. The definition of insanity. Keep doing the same thing, expecting a different result. If you are not insane, which includes most of the people watching this video, I think, please go to knowledge.servicenow.com and check it out. Knowledge is coming up. Get this in your budget. Get it on your roadmap. Get it on your plan. May 5th through 9th at the Palazzo in Las Vegas. Networking, hands-on labs, keynotes, lots of great stuff. If you've been to Knowledge before, I don't need to tell you. You can tell a friend, you can tell a coworker, you can tell a colleague about what a great time it is. If you have not, seek somebody out. There's a bunch of people who have. Be happy to tell you about it and what a great time it is. And the value for dollar is incredible. You'll get a year's worth of ServiceNow information in a week. There's pre-conference training. If you wanted to maybe up your level or go for a new skill, you can do that as well. So I highly, highly encourage you to get to Knowledge over at knowledge.servicenow.com. We also have code. If there's code being written, I think I'm going to try sticking one in. We'll do it on a Friday and see if we can get some code in today. Get that over at the bit.ly link you see there to a 6TKJZ. That's intuitive, isn't it? You think I would have made a nice, shorter, smarter link, but it is what it is. I will also be putting the link in the comments of the description of the YouTube video shortly after I post this, and on the community we'll have a link to that as well. So look for information there. If we write any code today, any script will be kept over there so that you don't have to squint at the screen and try and figure out what I'm writing. You can just go to that link, find the right folder for the day. It will be dated, so 2018-1109 will be today's folder, and copy and paste. Very handy to do. That was inspired by a question from a viewer who said, hey, can you post these things? I went, yes, I can. Let's just do that. let's go ahead and get started in the community. Again, community.servicenow.com is where you want to go for this information. We'll do a quick refresh. We'll start with something new. Good morning, Sebastian. Can the webinar be viewed afterwards? We might miss it because attending. Yes, you can. The TechNow series, good question, are available at the community. So if you search for TechNow episodes, our episode list in the community, that is going to be your best way. Otherwise, I'll give you a short link in just a minute. And for whatever reason, it doesn't come up as the first thing. That's very, very bizarre. It likes to put answered questions first, which makes sense if you're searching out an answer, but it doesn't make sense when you're looking for this. All right, the short link is, I will write this in big font, bit.ly, let's do a new file, bit.ly/ServiceNow-TechNow. Okay, put that in your bookmarks, put it in your calendar, wherever you put that, I don't know. Put that in your browser, it works even better, and it will take you to the page with all of the episodes. So bookmark this page for easy reference. I could also put the short link on there. And we have all of the episodes from day one, which was sometime in early 2013 when Andrew Kincaid and I started doing this. We did a 3-part series on Jelly. Still there. We have a PDF of the slides for every episode that I can. For whatever reason, some of the stuff went missing or didn't have slides. It was just a straight up demonstration. So you can get a PDF of all that, and you can see we've been going for coming up on 6 years now. That's crazy. Absolutely crazy. You want to learn more about ATF, scripted REST APIs. We've got all kinds of content for you in here. And number 58 will be the one for Virtual Agent. We've got a page for it, but it doesn't have a video yet. The video will be embedded here about a day or two after. So if the webinar's on the 14th, expect the video on the 15th or 16th. As soon as I get it, I will post it. It will be there within minutes of me getting that up there. We will also have the Q&A, all of the Q&A from that session. Whether or not we get to answer it on the air or not, you can also register at this page as well. I forgot about that. But we will get that posted as well. So that is my spiel on where you can find TechNow. Ta-da! Tip, YouTube notifications are useless. Sign up on Twitch for the notifications to catch Chuck. Thanks, Wybach. I don't know if I'd call them useless. I did get the notification. And I do get plenty of notifications from other channels. I know Gordon Lundquist, I subscribe to his channel and get notifications all the time saying that he's got new video. Very informative, very helpful guy. What else have we got? Actually, define reminders, good. You already got that. Okay, let's continue on. I've got the community up here. I did just come here to flap my jaws about whatever. Well, actually, I did come here to flap my jaws about whatever. Okay. SOC report update, GRC. I am not a GRC person. I know very little about it. I think I went to a training once, like an initial training when they were still roughing it out and figuring out what they wanted to put in the training. Wasn't so much a class as a lecture, so I am going to pass. And when I pass on a question, it's not because I don't like you, it's because I don't have any expertise or information that I can contribute. Sometimes I will dig into these, even if they're off topic for me, because I like to learn, I like to explore. Maybe there's a developer question in there, because some people, I found out when doing a workshop one time that people in HR didn't know a lot of the easy admin stuff that some of us take for granted, like dependent choice lists. They went, really? We can make a subcategory to a category? Oh, that would be so helpful. I'm like, wow, oh, okay. I guess they didn't go to sysadmin class, or that's not a requirement for HR people. But I'll dig into some of those. My specialty is the platform, specifically around custom applications and integrations, which is why I'm writing another custom application during the day. Okay, this is not part of my job. I don't know if I mentioned that. I do this out of the sheer enjoyment and love of networking and sharing information with people like you. The community is somewhat out of scope for my job, but I appreciate you watching. I appreciate you hanging out with me. Ideas for position management. I don't know. This sounds like a career thing. I'm not. We have a project that is starting up and will simplify hiring new staff. The general idea, create positions and attach needs to that position. These needs would be completed catalog forms or something similar to allow for automation of request items. Have position and each need under it go through approval process. Needs would have an individual approval process based on what is being requested, similar to the catalog items they relate to. The position would go through an overall approval process. Once approved, wow, this is pretty in-depth. I feel like I need to sit down in a meeting with this person and map out what they want to do. I have a hard time digesting just from text what it needs to look like. I'm a visual person, so apologize. I don't have a lot of visuals on this show for whatever reason. As a new staff member is hired, ServiceNow would receive information. All the requests would be bypass the approvals. Some concerns I have. This sounds like a wonderful process to implement. I'd like to keep informed on that, but sorry, Kristen, I don't have anything to add right now without probably sitting here for 20 minutes analyzing it, which would be very boring video, and then typing a long response, which would be even more boring video. Find me at Knowledge, and we'll have a nice talk about how this went. How to include send, receive emails in activity log of CAB Workbench. The CAB Workbench, I believe, I thought I saw this. I'm going to go to my personal developer instance, which has since timed out, and go to the CAB Workbench. And I believe it is a custom page. It's actually a portal. Look at that. CAB/ID portal. Okay, here is a calendar. I don't have any changes. But if I did, that's today. It's probably based on a lot of demo data that I just don't have loaded. There's one, network CAB. That's not how I remember the CAB Workbench going. This is the CAB Workbench that I remember. I was looking at an individual record, and they want to get, I apologize, my font is a little large for what we're trying to do here. We've got various changes, and the change comes up, and they want the activity history in here. So, how to include sent, receive emails in activity log? That's a very good question. I don't know. Let's take a look in the documentation. CAB Workbench, and let's see if there's anything that is in there around configuration. See if we can configure this thing. Here's the CAB Workbench overview. Change types, upgrade, activate, legacy, configure change management, properties. No, that's the Workbench. So let's find the link to the Workbench. Create a CAB definition, view the calendar, single meeting. I'm not seeing anything in the configuration part of it. Modify CAB meeting details. Hey, maybe you can modify the agenda items for a specific CAB meeting. Open the meeting list, CAB definition. Oh, CAB definition. Fields, notification, automatically add change requests. Change request additions, time per agenda. Refresh agenda items. I don't see it in there, but if it's going to be anywhere, I'm not going to read the whole thing in front of you. Let's take a look. And reply to that. Okay, I don't see a way to do it offhand. If it's going to be somewhere, it's going to be, ooh, close but no cigar. It's going to be in here. Oops. In this docs page. Let's do that better. Link, open a new page. Done. Reply. Bell. Ta-da! Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining. Having a good time yet? Sending single approval notification mail to multiple users with single approval rejection link. Sounds curious. Let's find out what they're trying to do. Hi all, we have an approval request notification in place that notifies the approver about pending approval for a catalog item. So far, so good. In the notification, there are approval and rejection links, which directs the approval or rejection mail in Outlook client. Yes, the requirement is to send a single notification to all approvers who have RITMs pending for approval by doing a mail merge, so that for all email recipients, there is a single email which has the same approval rejection link. How about no? But will redirect dynamically to the specific RITM link as per which approver clicks the link. Okay. The part about this single, there's a single email which has the same email of rejection approval link. Okay. It sounds like your link needs to point to a list rather than a single record. And clicking the link takes them to ServiceNow rather than here. Let's rewrite that in one sentence. It sounds like you want to make a link that brings the user to ServiceNow and displays a list of pending approvals for that user. Example, Chuck has 5 outstanding approvals rather than one email with one link to create an outbound mail to do that approval. Take Chuck to the list of 5 approvals to allow mass approval on those RITMs or changes or whatever else needs approval. Correct? Again, with the details, I always end up asking more questions. That's the nature of my job, is if I don't understand, I ask questions. And you should too. Because if you don't understand and you implement something, it's going to be wrong. And then you have to go back and do rework. So it's often handier to really understand what is it you're trying to do? What is the problem we're trying to solve? Is it too many emails? Is it they don't like responding to emails? What is the problem we're trying to solve? That is the key. Somebody else, I posted it on, I think it was on YouTube. No, not YouTube, LinkedIn. Somebody posted a question on LinkedIn, or maybe, no, it was Facebook. It was Facebook. It said, what is the answer to this question? It was a little JavaScript thing, and it did some looping and multiplication and addition, and people were guessing at the answer. And I said, my first question would be, what is the problem we're trying to solve? And somebody replied to that and said, and why? One kind of implies the other, but that's a very good question. I don't know if you guys see those things on Facebook where they come up and say, what's the answer to this programming problem? Or what's the answer to this mathematical problem? I don't do them. I look at them, but I rather put in that snarky question about getting more requirements. Morning, Kevin. Good to see you. Good morning, Lilit. Approving multiple RITM together doesn't seem a good idea. I can see it from the fact of including a link that maybe said, view all my approvals, and brought them to the sysapproval. Actually, my approvals, bring them to this list. Okay, why not? Show me the approvers where approver is this, and you could probably even add on a query to that. State is requested. Okay, that way they're seeing just the outstanding ones. Obviously, I don't have any. But if I took that part out and said, maybe Kristen Mitchell is viewing this, which I doubt. She's no longer with ServiceNow. A shame. She's an old-timer, older than me. I think that she just passed her 10-year anniversary. She would get a list that looks like this. And now Kristen can see, I hate to use the word, but a dashboard of her approvals in front of her and say, oh, let me drill into this change request. What needs doing? Let me go to this. If you presented that in an email as an option in the email, maybe you still send out an email that says, hey, request item 10,046 needs approval, you still have the links that say approve or reject, but you could also have another link that says show all my approvals. That wouldn't be too difficult to construct. Very easy, actually. Did I hit refresh? Probably not. Let's do that again. Okay, unreplied. Let's take a look at a few more unreplied. See if we got service mapping, citrus-based application. There's the SOC 2, multiple selection in interactive filters, performance analytics and reporting. I'm not strong in PA. I know a few tricks, and I know it's one of those things I just need to get into and get my hands on and do something. I have a use case for it. I just need to implement it now. The best way to learn something is get a personal interest in it, and I have a use case that I have a personal interest in, but I just need to get in there and do it. So, trigger outbound REST message from workflow. Hey, it's an integration thing. I can do that. Let's see what happens. I have a requirement to trigger an API to call to Applications Manager that will get a server name from a variable and send it to the Applications Manager so it can be added automatically into monitoring. Here's the application API. Blah, 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 blah. I probably don't want to post your API key in here. That's a bit insecure, but hey, just telling you. That's the endpoint, and display name is server name, and host is server name, and OS, and mode, blah, 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 blah. The only thing that changes would be the display name and host, which will be the new VM name. I haven't worked much with the API, so any assistance would be highly appreciated. First step is, the first step I always take, wow, fingers, come on, don't let me down. I always take is to use curl to validate the endpoint, credentials, etc. I don't test it through ServiceNow until I know API keys work and understand the response I'm getting back. Question: do you own orchestration? If not, you're going to have to build your own with script. Your own REST message with script. Let's put a link to orchestration as well. Might be handy. Put the cab workbench away. And get a link to orchestration. Even more fun would be IntegrationHub. I'm just telling you. Copy link address, paste that in to that. New window. Hitting the keys hard today. Take that, keys. All right. Oh, bell. There we are. I don't know if you can hear in the background. It's Friday morning. That means the dawn chorus is here. I can't tell you from the sound whether that's garbage or recycle because they both use the same mechanism. They have that side robotic arm thing that just takes it and dumps it. Good thing I didn't do that while I had my tea in my hand. I would have had tea all over my head. How does IntegrationHub differ from orchestration? Functionally, they're very similar. Orchestration is tied to the legacy workflow. So what you probably have seen before, I'm not going to make any rash assumptions. Again, maybe first-time viewers on here. The workflow editor, down under workflow editor, comes up in a window like this. The short answer is they both allow extensions to their respective workflow products. So this is the legacy workflow. Make that font a little larger for you. And in there, I have these various packs, orchestration packs. This one apparently only has HR in there right now, but if you would purchase, say, the activity pack for VMware or Active Directory or whatever, there are different ways you can do that. And in the, let me open one of these up. I don't even know if I'm in a scope or not. Here, we'll just create a new workflow. New sample workflow. And I'm not feeling imaginative, so we'll call it community live stream. We'll run it on one of my community live stream tables, maybe the item table. Submit that. Comes up with the blank canvas. We've seen this before. And still same amount of packs. All right. In here, I believe, is it under here? We would do a run script. If we had orchestration, we would have more packs. And I believe REST API or REST message is one of them that you can just plug in values. So that's orchestration. It extends workflow to allow you to do third-party integrations. It integrates, sends messages back and forth. So that's orchestration is to workflow. And in Flow Designer, don't know if I turned it on or not in here. You can, on your personal developer instance, turn on IntegrationHub and use a number of those. If I take a look at, let's do this sample flow. May not let me add an action because I'm not in the right scope. I have various integrations which show up under here. I don't have a whole lot in here. No, I don't. You would see Slack, VMware, again, there's different, what we call spokes. Hence the name Integration Hub. We have spokes. Instead of activity packs, it's spokes. The difference is that Integration Hub ties in with Flow Designer. It's the extension that allows that same functionality of third-party integrations just by filling in forms. The advantage you get, and the reason you want to use Integration Hub and Flow Designer over Workflow, is because I can delegate. I can use delegated development to say non-admins, perhaps line of business people, can build out their process flow using Integration Hub and Flow Designer. So they're just filling out forms. They don't have to write any script. Eventually, sooner or later, somewhere in workflow, you either need to be a workflow admin or you need to be an admin to use the legacy workflow, which makes it kind of a crazy issue about how much access are you giving this person, and B, you're going to run into situations where you have to script after a while, and that's not something I want my business analysts or my process owners. I don't want them running into that situation. So enable them to do work, and if they run into a complex situation like, hey, I need to write a new integration with this application manager, let me, the developer, create some activities, kind of like this one that I did with my simple integer math. Fill in some fields, I'll take care of the back-end processing, and it's a reusable component, it's a reusable block that I can use. There is one in here. I don't know if it's in this one specifically, but I can create an action. Let's go back here, create new action, and I'll call this just simply REST API, available to all scopes. Start within global, and when you add a step, there is one down here for REST. I'm sorry, you need Integration Hub turned on. I'm going to turn that on. I can do that over at the developer portal under Manage Instance. I want Integration Hub activated. Sooner or later, I'm going to do that. Under Manage, I've got this action menu to activate a plugin. And down here is not search integration, Integration Hub. ServiceNow Integration Hub Installer. Don't know why they gave it that crazy name. Plugin names mystify me. We seem to have no consistency in places. So let me turn that on, and I will come back to that in a little bit. Hope that answered your question. Very common when we get the workflow and orchestration product are not going away. We're just not investing additional development effort aside from critical bugs that are found. So they are separate products. Talk to your account manager about licensing, all that good stuff. If you've written things on workflow, it will continue to run. We'll continue to support it for the foreseeable future. I don't know exactly what the support end of life looks like on that, but consider starting to build Flow Designer. And don't think of Flow Designer as a replacement for workflow. Think of it more as super duper advanced business rules that you can allow other people to write. There's a trigger and there's an action. You can even use it as a scheduled job. The trigger on Flow Designer may be, if you look at the trigger, when a record is created, updated, but you can also do these scheduled ones. You can, if you've got metric base, you can even trigger off of a metric base trigger. So there's different ways you can set these triggers. There are APIs in London and coming up in Madrid some more that you can leverage from a script. So if you had a UI action, for example, and you wanted to trigger a flow or even a piece of a flow, you could do that within a script and take advantage of these flows you use. So lots of great power in here that just was never available due to the architecture of workflow. So that is my rambling on about Flow Designer and workflow and orchestration and integration hub. Thank you. Good question. Good question. Service mapping, Citrix-based application, multiple select interactive filters, ideas for position management, item dates. We're going back pretty far. This might be a fun time to not just look at unreplied, but look at the unsolved. Find out what discussions are going on in the community that you might be able to contribute to. You know, as long as they don't have like 22 replies. When it's 22 replies, I figure somebody else has that conversation. It's very mature and it's probably varied from what the subject says. But that's just the way that my experience in the community has taught me. Email only events in event management. Email only for events in event management. Trigger outbound REST message. You know what I should do? Is I should go to the areas where I am a specialist. Developer. Not that I don't want to see these, but I want to focus more on what's going on. Ask the expert with Stephen Bell. That already happened. Those are the featured ones. Let's get down to the articles, shall we? Redirect users with a custom role to self-service view instead of service portal. Well, I wonder what they're referred to as a self-service view. Currently, any user with ITIL role is directed to self-service view, and users without ITIL role are directed to service portal. I'm unable to find what is actually determining this to happen. You may find this helpful. Redirect user logins, UI scripts, login rules, and installation exits. There might be a simple property that can be set to make all this work 2 years ago. Wow, there must have been something more recent in here that percolated this up to the top. Am I missing a reply? No, edited 2 years ago. Why is that showing up near the top of the list? Updated 2 minutes ago. Where's the update? I didn't see anything in there that even looked recent. Did I miss it? How to change calendar report in Service Portal homepage. Upgrade from Kingston to London problem. Let's see what's going on here. Can we help Lisa with the upgrade? Shane gives me a donut. Thanks for the donut, Shane. We have a portal page that uses Forms widget to show a table view. We have a client on change script and a couple of reference fields that use old value, new value. It worked fine in Kingston, but in London, the old value is always blank. In Kingston, the old value is always the previous value of the field. So if I made the field user, then changed it to, if I made the field user A, then changed it to B, the old value in Kingston was A, and in London, it's blank. I have read the docs on this and realized the on change in London, the old value is supposed to be whatever the initial record load is. How do people get true on-change functionality in reference fields? So every time the reference field, Okay, has anybody responded to this? My understanding is that client script always returns null for old value. You can only get the previous value in a business rule. If it was working in Kingston, I'm not sure how. Interesting. I do realize it shouldn't be working in Kingston either. I'm not sure why after I looked at the documentation, but it is. Business rules don't really work in this instance. This may be a question for Hi, as it does not say that it should be the value of the field when the form loads. Really? I thought client scripts had that. All right. I am going to do a quick test. I am on London. Let's do some exploring, because that's what I like doing on this show. Let's write He said specifically about reference fields. So let's do an onChange on caller. So create or configure client scripts. I will create a new script. We're on a journey of discovery here. This is how we learn. Just work with me. Caller ID changes. On the incident table, this will be an onChange for the caller field. All right, active, global, everything else looks good. I don't know why I'm in the event management app. I don't need to do that. Discard that. I want to be in global. I must have been goofing around on this instance last night. Hopefully I didn't change anything else, but I don't need that app. It was a test import for something else. Caller ID changes. So we set the name, make sure it's on the incident table, which it is. Desktop, mobile, both, all fine. Did they say anything about Service Portal? I don't think they did. We have a portal page. Oh, okay. That'll be interesting. So let's make sure that's all. onChange, on caller. And then simply put down here a message. gs.add info message. Old equals old value. New equals try that again. New value. All right, those are the variables, old value, new value that are passed in. Let's make sure we get a semicolon to get rid of that little red orange dot. We hit submit. And in the standard UI, the object GS should not be used in client scripts. Oh, silly me. Rookie mistake. I'll bet you were all shouting at your screen for that one, weren't you? Like, Chuck, what are you doing? I'm glad the script editor caught that. That was nice. Otherwise, it would have been a big boo-boo. So, incident. Let's just go to a recent record that I was on. My TV is on fire. That sounds like something I made up. Found the caller. So let's change the caller to Fred. And in here, it's got the old value of B640D and CDO25. Now, if I go to Service Portal, dev20 blah, 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 /sp, got to find out how I can get to the incident. Oh, wait, I'm the caller, so that should be easy to find. My TV is on fire. Woohoo! And I can't change the reference field here. This is not an editable thing. That's the standard form. Huh. That's going to be interesting. They said they were using a form, yes? Uses the forms widget. Well, I'm not going to change this form all around. Does the client script work the way you expect? Does the client script work the way you expect when changing that field from the standard form? E.g., not in Service Portal. That'll tell us if it's a Service Portal thing or not. So, a little bit of help. Otherwise, I'd be sitting here for a while, typing and exploring, and that would take a long time. GS-add info message not displaying the message. Well, then it's not much of a GS-add info message, is it? I have a list choice, UI action. List choice UI, okay. Which on selecting will open a Glide dialog window asking for confirmation and then send a mail to the selected list entries. This I have achieved by calling a script include in the UI action. The script include queries the table and sends the mail. For me, the window appears. On confirmation, the mail is sent. But the message, GS-add info message, is not displayed anywhere. Where am I going wrong? Can anyone please help? The client script, the client callable script include has a add info message. Have you checked the system log? Have the statement ES in the UI action outside of the script include. That would be my recommendation as well. Putting it in the script include ties it to that client callable abstract AJAX processor business, and who knows where that's going. So that would be add that would be number 1, is tie it to the UI action. No response from that. That message will only appear if you add the UI action code and won't work in script include. Okay, same recommendation. If you want to show that message, have it in the UI action after calling the script include function. The UI action is calling, okay. Yeah, because the, never mind. The glide dialog window part may be affecting part of this. Let's see what the reply. Thanks for your message. I am unable to get that message displaying by using GS add info message in the UI action. Below is my list choice UI action. I even tried G form, but nothing getting. We're doing a glide Ajax. This is how you pop up the dialog window. I like the new code, by the way. Not a lot to digest. Use gform add info message, your message here, in your UI action. Is the UI action client callable? Can you share the UI action with us? Or is this the UI action code? Please guide me where I need to add it here. So I'm guessing that it's one of those client callable, and then you call the server code next. Yeah, if that's the case, guessing you have client checked on the UI action form and calling the function, what was the name of the function? Con asset. Correct? For the client callable UI actions, let's take a look at these. There's usually 2 parts to these. There's the client part and there's the server part. And I am going to find where client is true and look at one of those examples, like delete. Delete pops up a nice dialog, right? Or it should. It's got client checked. There's usually a function down here that says on click. So let's make sure we get that right. And calling the function blah, blah, blah in the on click field. Okay, there's the function you're calling. And this starts you out with call this function. Now you'll notice something else in here. Function, 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 function. It gets down, that one's not doing it. Let's find a different one. View toggle, maybe? This one also calls a function. And in here, there's something where it says if window is undefined, because window is a client object. And when it calls itself again, window location, you know what? I need to also search for client contains, or the script contains. Script. Oh, they're not doing a submit though. The submit would call the server function. I didn't see that in their script where they had a GSFT. This is a dialog. They're calling a Glide Ajax to get some data, putting it in the window, and interesting. Curious. I don't know the answer to that one. I'm going to subscribe, but I'm also going to delete my answer because it's not written yet. It's not finished. That's an interesting one. Customizations, man, they're tough to write and they're even harder to support. But I really wish we had a better method of doing pop-ups. That's something that has always been a little laborious in my opinion. All right, where were we? Community, developer, 10 minutes to. I want to show you something real quick though. Time to switch gears. I need like a segue. Here, let's see. Do I have something really short? There we are. Want to show you something on an app that I've been writing. This is called Writing Your Own filter tool. And it's based on the GlideFilter object. So making your own lookup rules based on GlideFilter.checkRecord. That's the key to making this all happen. What I did is, see if I can find this, is create a set of state rules. And the condition field is really what makes this easy. This is core to my philosophy of making applications data-driven. Stop writing complex rules that when this happens, go over here, and when this happens, go over there. I created, in my application that manages this show, I put in a series of states. Now, what triggers movement from one state to the next, it's just really just to help me drive the process, because I was updating this field and going over to that tab and updating that field, then posting to this, and I felt very chaotic. I said, I need to straighten my brain out and make it easy to manage these episodes. So what I did is, where's my episode list? Here is the one that I did on the 7th. The process flow formatter is based on the state field. State field is brand new, and I say I'm currently collecting information. So as soon as I stop broadcasting, I go in, a record comes in, and it's in collect state. So I'm collecting the links that I used in the show, collecting the code, making sure that's posted to GitHub. I have a REST API that goes out to Git and says, hey, is there a folder for this episode? If so, let's check this box. I kept forgetting that, so hey, make the computer be automated. Anyway, back to these lookup rules. What makes it go automatically? I should make this read only because I really don't use this field. I'm letting the process drive through this. Could I put a workflow on this? Potentially, but then I'm just doing wait for conditions. So in a way, think of this list of state rules as my wait for conditions. I'm waiting for, as long as this is true, I'm waiting for the URL to be empty and the topic HTML to be empty. It's going to be in the state collect. Okay, so I set the state field to collect. Could have done that with a field value. Got a little crazy when it came to table dependencies because it's only one table. So I just opted for a single bespoke state field over here. Uses the same choices from the other one. I've shown you that before. But this is a rule. Next rule says, in order to get to the community state, the URL community is going to be empty. And I stop after each one of these. If I find a match, it stops, it sets the value, and it gets out. So yes, when it's in collect, the community URL is still empty, but I never get to that rule because it matched the first one, hence the order, 100, 200, 300, 400. If I hit order 100, it stops. You can do what you want with the logic. I'll show you how this works in a minute. So I've got all of these records with condition fields that are setting a number of conditions, and I want to see which records match that condition against the current record that I've got. This is reverse from doing a query on a list of records that you might normally do, where you do a glide record and then you do an add query or an add encoded query and say, which records in this list match this query? And it gives you back a list of records. This is based on the data in my record, which have conditions, that's this field, which have conditions that match my current data. And this is how it goes. Let me pull this up in my editor. Get rid of that, copy and paste it from my other one. This is the actual code. I'm going to share this with you as a baseline example. It's the part where I give away free code. Put that into the editor, and this is done out of a business rule, so I'm just going to call it BR, do GlideFilter.js. Oh, not in that folder. Let's do a new folder. Not in that folder. Let's do a new folder in the right place. 2018, 1109. It is the 9th. I don't have too many dashes on there. And we'll put it in GlideFilter.js. So that's nice to have. And it goes like this. Go and get all of the rules. Those are in my state rule table. That's the ones we were just looking at. Go and get those, and I want to find out for each rule, scroll a little too far. For each rule that I find, use this GlideFilter.checkRecord. It's documented on the developer side if you want to go look it up. Very easy to use. Pass in the episode that I'm on, which would be the November 9th episode, and find out what state I'm supposed to be by getting the value of the condition. This is an encoded query. If I wanted to hard code it, if I wanted to make up my own, you could do that. I prefer to get them out of a field because it's easier to write, it's easier to manage. And it says, does this rule match my data? Are these fields blank? Is this set? Is this empty? That kind of stuff. Does this record match the conditions found in this rule condition? If so, it returns a true or a false. Actually, I think it's a null or a not null. I can't remember. I have to look. If it matches, then set the state to whatever the rule says. Okay, if I hit the conditions that match the YouTube state, then set it to YouTube. If I hit the rules that match LinkedIn, then set it to LinkedIn. And this is in a business rule that does any sort of update. I'll show you the business rule as well. It's not that complex. And then get out of here. I'm done. I don't want to continue anymore. What I could do, and what I probably should do to make it a little more flexible, is similar to what our inbound email actions do and say, stop processing. And check the checkbox that says, if I stop processing, then I return. Otherwise, I'm going to keep going. And that gives me the flexibility to say, continue on or stop. In this case, I want to stop. So the logic here is, you found a rule that matches, let's leave. The business rule for that is very easy. I'm going to go into Studio to show that to you. Just to show you the complete configuration of that. You are now witnessing what it takes to put this show together. Business rules and state lookup. I usually call it something lookup when I use GlideFilter.checkRecord. Just tells me that I'm doing my own lookup. Could I have used a data lookup because I'm getting and setting fields on the same value? Yes, I could have. Potentially. It got a little complex with some of the rules that I've got, but I had considered that, but I also considered that I wanted to show you something cool. So when to run? It's run before because I'm what? Because I'm managing an object on the current record. I'm not setting values on related records. I'm managing stuff on the current. That's why there's no current.update in here. Right? It's a before business rule. I'm getting it for free. I said, what should the state be? Should I change the state? Anytime the record is inserted or updated. There's no additional conditions down here. There's no additional actions over here. And the advanced script is what I just showed you. Go in, get the rules, find out what matches. If it matches, set the state to whatever the rule says. Give you another look at those rules real quick. Okay, go through the rules. Let's take a look at the YouTube rule. In honesty, I didn't need to set a name field, and because it always seems to match what the YouTube is. To create a condition field is very easy. In the table, tables, state rule. Table is pretty simple what you see. If you haven't dealt with condition fields, they're one of my favorites. Again, data driven. If somebody comes up with a new state, somebody changes the condition, the somebody being me because this is my application. But if I decide, you know what, that's not quite how I want to advance from YouTube to LinkedIn or LinkedIn to complete. I need another bit of information in there. I just go and change the data. I'm not changing the application. It's still doing lookups. This is my favorite part, is it makes it really takes the maintenance out of development. So condition field is of type conditions. If you're creating a new one, come down here and type condition 2. I'm not going to actually create this one, but it is a field called conditions. Don't use a condition string. That's what you see on UI actions. That's what you see on business rules. It is a coded string. I don't want to use that. That's not what I want to write. I want to create a condition field. Once you've created that field, you need to tie it to a table. You can either do that with a field dependency. If you must have a table name field, a field of type table name. So if I were going to make this truly independent, like a UI policy, or like something else that says pick a table. Okay, you can do this too. This isn't that hard. create a table field of type table name. That will give you a list of the tables. You want to pick incident? Great. Then the condition fields will change to incident fields. If you want to pick the change request table, it'll be the change request. You want to pick the community live stream episode table, it will be the fields that are available on that. So the table name is what's dependent on here. So I would have to go into Advanced View to get that extra tab. And I can do this two ways. One is either say, I want this to be dependent on the table field. I don't have the table field here, but if I did, I would choose it. And that way the two are linked, like category and subcategory. It's going to be table and condition field. And I can also set my state value fields on that as well. I didn't do that. I have one table and only one table, so I use the attribute static dependent and set that, which also shows up down here in the attributes. It says, this is the table from which you will get fields. Notice on the form, I have the fields from the episode table, not from any other table because I don't have a way to pick any other table. That's how that works. So very easy to create a condition field, either link it to a static table or make it dependent on a table field. So you can pick any fields from any tables, and now you've got lots of configuration options. You are configuring your application rather than customizing it and telling it how to behave. Combine that with properties, combine that with state value fields, or field value fields. That's a thing. Template value fields. And you can now be setting values, and you kind of get an idea of how I created that scriptless business rule, or scriptless schedule job application. So that is going to do it for me today. I've made that code available for you. I hope I didn't change anything in here. Delete, stop, okay, don't save, go back, and now my application will work when I get today's episode posted. And I look forward to seeing you. Hope you all have a wonderful weekend. Look forward to seeing you on Monday, as long as there's no family emergencies and no business trips, which I don't know of right now, but anything can happen. It's been a wonderful hour. Hope you enjoyed it. And we are getting closer to the 1-year anniversary of this show, and I have something special planned for that. I have some plans for what I want to cover in December to give you some cool information that you can leverage there. So lots of neat stuff in the works. Look forward to sharing that all with you. Hope to see you there. Don't forget, click like on the video or helpful in the community if you found something useful, informative, entertaining, whatever it is, and have yourself a wonderful weekend. Take care and bye. Get the music. There we are. See ya.